Hello, infidels. I want to talk about Eucharistic adoration at the shrine and how it was great, but then also how I kind of blew it. Because I was planning on being at the place where Mary touched down, the only bishop-approved apparition between a maple and hemlock tree in Wisconsin. So I was there yesterday, and so the Eucharistic adoration, to be honest with you, it wasn't the top on my list of going. I wanted to get down to the crypt because I went one other time, and I didn't go down to the crypt where the actual apparition was right there. Now they have a church above the crypt. I went there, and but this time I wanted to, I wanted to do, assist at the Mass. And I wanted to do a confession, and then I wanted to go down into the crypt and spend some time, like praying the rosary and stuff down there where the apparition literally took place. So, but come to find out, I came out of there with the ideas. With the Eucharistic adoration was really should have been top on my list, because after the Mass they went right into the Eucharistic adoration. And as I said, we received the Mass on our knees at the altar with the and then but then after that they went right into Eucharistic adoration. They do it every day, I guess, and that was from 12, Mass at 11, I made the Mass, and then 12 to 3 was Eucharistic adoration. Now, it was unbelievable how powerful it was when I was just sitting there in awe after the Mass, and then we had the adoration. I was like, I could hardly even move because of the God's presence. And then the problem started happening. In the back of my head, I'm thinking, because the priest said he was going to do confession during the adoration. On the back of my head, I'm thinking, I know I'm going to get aced out with the priest. He's going to be back there for a while. I'm going to turn around and he's going to be gone. I'm going to miss going to confession, which was a total lack of faith on my part. But, it was just, that was part of my anxiety. Then my flights, because I had different flights and everything, and I had to plan ahead, and I had to, there was one thing after the other. Then you had car rentals, motel, and I'm just passing through to New York from California. But anyway, so I did get to the confession. Finally, I did, and I was right though. That priest did eventually leave, so I was glad I got the confession. But the problem was, I sort of got out of the spirit a little bit. Like, once I left that adoration from the Mass, I did come back to the adoration, but it wasn't the same. I was distracted. So, but I did get a taste of it, and I did learn a lesson, that Mary and these apparitions, all this, what she did is, the Eucharist was more, what she's saying, all the apparition, all this stuff was so everybody focuses on the Eucharist. So, and so that was the point. It was really 4th, 5th on my list, the Eucharistic adoration, because, I'm thinking, I got to get down to the crypt this time. I wanted to go to a Mass, that was important, and the confession was important. And I wanted to, those two sacraments, the Eucharist and confession, those are two main sacraments in the church, so you want to do that. But And of course I wanted to spend time in the crypt, which I did. I spent at least an hour and some. But I don't even know if I made 2 hours in the crypt. But I had a total, I was there 6 hours. I was planning on 8 hours. And I realized later that I should have done the preparations, the bookstore, eating, and confession. I should have done that before the Mass. Then I wouldn't have been distracted with the Mass right into the Adoration. I would have, gained more graces like that. Instead, of course, I got distracted, as I said. And then another hour or two, I had to walk the grounds. It's a nice place out in the wilderness, so I had to do that a little bit. And they got the Stations of the Cross out there and everything. Then the bookstore, which we always, I didn't really need to go to the bookstore so much, because the last time I went, I got everything I really needed. That was a couple of years ago, but still, I always love to go to the bookstore because you buy medals and different things. And I did have the priest bless the stuff. And so, here's a few. I got these rosaries here from the crypt. They were blessed from where Mary appeared between a hemlock and a maple tree. And then this is a rosary of Our Lady of Good Help. I don't even know how to pray it. They don't really give instructions, but this was, here's a picture of her. And I got some other things from the bookstore. I'll show you. Yeah, here's a picture. But there was a few other things. Here's the story of Adele and meeting the Blessed Virgin, the Belgian immigrant. And I had other things. So beautiful pictures and stuff. But here was a yellow rosary too that I prayed with. She had a yellow sash on around her waist in the picture when she appeared in 1859. Oh, here's a good. Here's some things I got at the bookstore. And I got a big one of those too. This one, probably. So I realized I could have framed, this was theirs, you could frame. But you see the maple and the hemlock tree very vague in the background. It's funny, because she said, "Go, Adele, evangelize or share the Catholic faith to the children in this wild country." That was 1859. And then, like I said, they had the Chicago fire, the famous Chicago fire. Back then they had, at the same time, a Wisconsin fire that was even worse. It just tore through the woods there, all of that area. But it didn't touch where Mary touched down. That's where it stopped. And they were all the people went to that spot, and they were praying the rosaries and stuff, but the fire licked some of the area, but it never got through. And they considered that like a miracle. There's a great testimony. You should read that, about that fire. And so they attributed that, Then they built a school there after Adele went around 50 miles, within 50 miles, catechizing those kids in the Christian faith. And then, and then his bishop approved, this guy went and studied it and all, because this is the only apparition in the U.S. it's bishop approved. And that bishop studied, he went around and he approved it. There's a lot of study, a lot of things that go into that to to see if it's authentic. And the story goes where she was going to Mass. They had to walk a long distance to Mass, and then the beautiful lady appeared to Adele, and the Belgian immigrant, and she had a couple of friends, and they didn't see her at first. And then she asked the priest, if this lady comes again, what should I ask her? And the priest said, what do you want from me? And anyway, she went back and she saw her again, and she said she wanted to send her forth like her sisters in Belgium, to do the work in the ministry, and then she addressed herself as Queen of Heaven, and then the work started, and it's still going on today. But so you sort of, she did appear between a maple and a hemlock tree, and it was a little more wild country back then. Even though it's pretty wild there now. But so that's a story for now for the apparition. I gotta get going, jump on another plane. God bless you. Peace.